Today I want to talk about probably the most powerful thing you can do with your resume to get way more interviews, way more job offers. It's very, very simple, and you might feel like it's even too simple, but trust me, nobody does this. Pretty much nobody does this. And the people who do and truly understand it, they get too many jobs. They get more jobs than they can handle, and employers just are obsessed with them. And here's what it is. It's to keep it simple. Keep it simple. And to illustrate my point, I want to give you an example. So imagine a company is hiring an AI graduate. And this AI graduate, their job is going to be to come into this company and help automate workflows using AI. And we've got two different candidates here. We've got candidate A and we've got candidate B. Now, candidate A, what they do is they think, okay, I really want this job. What are my biggest selling points? What would I have to tell the hiring manager to make them think, wow, this person is a really good fit. We have to interview them. They seem amazing. They think about what are those key things, and they just put those on the resume. They keep it very, very, very simple. And anything that's not a big selling point, they just don't really focus on it too much. So to give you an idea of this, imagine this is their resume, and they think, you know what? One of my biggest selling points is my education. Because I've got a bachelor's in computer science and I've got a master's in AI from a really good university, and I have like 90% grades. Say this is from UNSW or something like that. And I got a bachelor's computer science, really good grades too, and same, it's from UNSW. Just as an example, they think, okay, they're my biggest selling points. And also, I've done a specific project in my master's where I automated business workflows. I know my handwriting's a bit terrible on this, but this is just to illustrate the idea. You know what I mean? Then they thought, okay, what else are my biggest selling points? And they think, well, I actually have experience recently as an AI intern for a law firm, and I helped them automate a workflow there. And they put that on. They put the auto project they did. And they think, what else are my biggest? Oh, well, another really big selling point is that I've actually got certifications in all these main automation platforms, maybe NAN, which the company is using, and maybe, I don't know, one of the other automation and AI tools. Okay, so they've got highly relevant certifications, just quick, cheap, or free ones they've done, which are what the company uses. They use those tools. And they thought, you know what, they're my biggest selling points. Maybe they have a few others, but these are the main ones. And they go, okay, this is what's, if I had 30 seconds in a lift with the hiring manager, these are the things I'd tell them to convince them to hire me. An awesome master's with top grades, strong foundational understanding of computers with the computer science degree, amazing internship helping automate this specific workflow for this law firm where they achieved whatever result, saving 32 hours a week or whatever the workflow did, talking straight with the CEO, working with business analysts to deploy it, whatever the key selling point is there. And they've also been certified and really are quite competent in these various tools that they're using, right? They're the main selling point. Sure, they've done loads of other things. They've done volunteering, they've done other projects, they've done other courses, they've got other experience, they work at the service station during their degree to earn some money. They've got all these other things that they do, but they thought, you know what, these are the main things that are really going to blow them away. And they just keep their resume to one page, focus on the main things. Now, there's another candidate here, candidate B, and they go with a different approach. They go with the normal approach, which was what most people do when they're writing a resume. And they get a normal resume template with all the different slots, and they just try and fill it up with as much as they can. They think more is better. And so they have like an executive summary or a summary at the top, and they talk about how they're really interested in, you know, building a career with a cool company and problem solving and things like that. And then they've got maybe their experience, but they've had loads of experience. Like they currently work part-time as a customer service rep, they work part-time as a tutor, they work part-time doing, I don't know, waiting tables, or as like a receptionist, for example. So they talk about all these things and they really fill it up. Maybe they got into their technical skills. They list out all of the technical skills they have. And then on the second page, finally, this is where they get to their AI experience. Maybe they put it under, in fact, maybe let's flip this around. Imagine technical skills are up here and experience is down here. And they don't quite get to the AI experience, so they end up putting it on this page, the AI internship, because they've got the same experience as this other person. They're just bloating the resume up. And then maybe here they go into their certifications. And they put all of their certifications, not just the relevant ones, they put all of them. And then they put in their volunteering. Put all of those there. They put all their projects. They put referees. Then they put finally they put their education, and they put their masters and their bachelors. I know this is awful writing, but I hope this is getting the point across. So as you can see, this person's the same, like they've got the same thing. They've got the same masters, same bachelors, same internships, same certifications, but they have not kept things simple. They have kept things bloated and complicated. Now, who's going to get more interviews here? I'll tell you who gets more, and it's this person. Every single time, they're getting way more interviews. And it's purely because they kept things simple. Now, why does this work? Why does this work? The reason why it works is all a resume is a way to communicate information. You want to communicate from you to the hiring manager. And what you're trying to communicate is, hey, you should interview me for this role. You should pick me out of all the other hundreds of people for this role. That's what you're trying to communicate in a resume. And hiring managers and people in general, they only have a short amount of time and a short amount of attention, small amount of attention, and you need to capture it quickly. You need to convince them very quickly and make it easy for them, frictionless for them to go, oh, this person's what I need, let's shortlist them for an interview. What most people do though, is they make things very difficult for the hiring manager. Very difficult. They put all this information in the resume they don't really care about, and they put it on them to find the selling points. Okay, they put it on them to try and figure out why you're a good fit. But no, that's not their job. It's your job to make it very easy for them to see why you're a good fit. So it's not about putting everything onto the page. It's about thinking, what makes me the right candidate for this role? If I had 30 seconds in a lift with this hiring manager, what are the 3-4 things I would tell them to convince them to pick me? Okay, and just to give you a funny example to make this point even stronger. Imagine you have this perfect resume, 2-3 pages, all of your projects beautifully designed, amazing formatting, lots of detail, and you've got an AI internship on your resume for 3 months and you're going for this job. Now, you've got another person, they've got 12 months of internship experience and they did it for Google. They helped Google automate things with AI. They're like, it's like amazing experience. That person, they could email the hiring manager, say, I love your company. I actually just finished up my internship at Google doing this AI stuff. Any chance I could chat with you? I'd love to join your team. Without even having a resume, that person is getting an interview. And they're probably getting an interview ahead of you because they've isolated their biggest selling point and they've just told the hiring manager, this is what makes me stand out versus everyone else. And when you have really good selling points like that, you don't need a fancy resume. You don't need fancy bullet points. You don't need fancy anything. You just need to know what are your biggest selling points, what makes you the right fit, and communicate it very simply. A lot of people think because a resume is, they see all these resumes, they think it has to be designed in a certain way, it has to have the certain information. That's not true. We've had clients get interviews and jobs with an email, no resume. I hope this makes sense. And just quickly, if you're a hiring manager reading through this one, imagine in this executive summary, it's just like, oh, I'm a recent graduate, I'm really passionate about getting some experience, and I see myself as a man, like whatever that person's mission statement or whatever is in the resume. And by the way, I think summaries are great if used properly. Here, let's imagine it's one of those really boring standard ones that no one cares about. They're literally just like useless, don't care, doesn't help. Or you did customer service job, okay, but that doesn't really set you apart. Everyone's done that. Tutoring, doesn't really set you apart. Receptionist doesn't set you apart. Or this technical skill's useful, but like these aren't that useful. You've already lost them. Even if they get to the next page, right? Like you've kind of already lost them. Because sure, you've got amazing selling points down here, but it's too bloated, it's too complicated. And they might just give up at this point because usually when you're reviewing a resume, you decide if someone's worth investigating in like a couple seconds. It's like literally you see a resume, you go, rejected. No, not a good fit. Not a good fit. It's so quick, but then when you see someone who's interesting, you go, oh, interesting. And then you dig. But you have to give them a reason to be interested, especially on the first page. And you never want your biggest selling points down below. So all we want is value in the resume, just things that are going to make them want to interview you quite a lot. Anything that's neutral, i.e. it doesn't really make them want to interview you, but it also doesn't make them not want to interview you, you can kind of just forget about that. Like it's just filler information, right? If it's not going to help you get an interview, why keep it in there? And if something is in there that definitely won't get you an interview, it's just silly to put that in. Like if it's going to make them want to interview you less, it's just silly to put in that. For example, maybe you had an internship at a really great company, but you got fired after a week. And they like, sure, it's a good company, but it's probably more of a red flag in a lot of cases than a benefit. So you want to think, what are the things that are going to sell me? How do I sell myself as best as possible? Put those things in, be very clear about the value you can add and why they should pick you. Anything that is fluff or reduces the chance you get an interview, remove it. And keep things simple. Because when you keep it simple, you're maximizing the chance they see the big selling points. It's like a needle in a haystack. It's like having imagine someone is, it is a needle in a haystack. Imagine that needle is the bit of value, like your biggest selling point. This is what most people do when they apply for a job. They've got these amazing few selling points and they're like hidden in the resume, and the hiring manager has to then figure out where it is. And they're probably not going to do that. In some cases they will, but a lot of the time they won't. So in summary, keep it simple.